Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This weekend, the UFC returns to Saudi Arabia with a stacked card. For a fight night, no pay-per-view attached to it. You can tell, and we've seen in the past, that they love to stack these cards in the Middle East. Headlining it, we have the return of Israel Adesanya. Now, he is having a very quick turnaround, one of the most active champions in history, I believe the most active champion in history. And all of the fans just took it for granted, like they always do with every fighter. Regardless, he had some time off after the Strickland fight, which you could tell he really needed, but the guy is a savage. He went straight in to a title fight with Dricus du Plessis after having, a pretty extended time off the sport. In a sport, especially that turns over so quickly, mixed martial arts is considerably early into its day. And like I said, the athletes are just getting so good so quick. So for Israel to take as much time as he did off and to come in against du Plessis and have such a competitive performance, there was a lot of hate and criticism on Israel's style and performance coming out of that fight. But honestly, for what I mentioned, all of the time off and coming in against someone on a momentous win streak with just a buzzsaw fight style, he did a really, really good job against Dricus du Plessis and took it right down to the wire, in my opinion. Very closely contested fight. So I don't think this is a sign of Adesanya being done or anything like that. If anything, it is a really good sign that he had a competitive fight like that, even lost, quite a personal fight. That would have taken a toll as well, but lost the fight, but just wants to jump straight back in the mix. He's taking a fight as well, like against Imavov, his opponent, a young guy, the sort of next generation, the one after Israel Adesanya. He hasn't really fought someone like this, how well-rounded they are. And, Imavov's dangerous everywhere that the fight goes. Like I said, this is just a great sign if you're an Israel fan, because he just wants to jump back in the waters, in the deep waters. He knew he was getting probably a bit of a step down after losing that fight, but he gets up-and-coming top contender. And if Israel can silence some doubters and get an impressive win in a spot here, big main event, then he's right back in the mix. And who knows what happens next week in Sydney. If Strickland manages to get that one done, I can see them setting that fight up for sure. I know Israel wants to get that rematch. So, guys, Israel is not done. This is a very closely contested fight. And if anything, it's going to propel him back exactly where he wants to be. On the other side, Imavov, like I spoke about, he also has a lot of momentum himself, up-and-comer, that next generation, like I said, and is very well-rounded everywhere the fight goes. He's quite technical on the feet, but I don't see him having much success there against Israel. If he can work in the thread of that takedown, that I think would play into his favor, landing some strikes on the feet. But if he tries to have a kickboxing fight here, he's going to get whipped around. And yeah, Adesanya is still crisp on the feet. He may have regressed a little bit just due to the age and, him doing this at the top level for so long. There's no fighter that doesn't regress. But like I said, on the feet, I think it's going to be different levels. So Imavov's going to really need to use that well-rounded game like I spoke about. And for Izzy, just be yourself. If he can find that flow, his takedown defense is awesome. And if he can start to pick up on the timing, the tempo of Imavov on the feet, which he will, and avoid all that wrestling, I think he could have a vintage performance here. And who knows, even get a stoppage. So this is a fight I cannot wait for. I am very intrigued by. And like I said, headlines a pretty stacked card. Let's dive deeper down that card and have a look. Because in the co-main, Shara, the Pirate, Magomedov, is taking on MVP in a really fun sort of novelty fight. MVP, it's almost like a bit of a side quest for him. He's moving up to middleweight just for this contest, it seems like. Who knows if he's going to do that Kevin Holland route, sort of jump between both. But I think he's pretty undersized for middleweight. It's going to be really interesting to see how he looks in there against Shara. But this is going to be a striker's delight. Like, these guys are going to put on an epic performance. Shara Magomedov is very seasoned in the kickboxing, great Muay Thai fighter. And for him, I don't think he's ever fought a style like Michael Venom Page. Michael Venom Page, it's a nightmare matchup for anyone because you just can't replicate that in the gym. When you're in there, it's going to be feeling that for the first time. And I reckon he cracks even at middleweight, man. Like, and it's not even that he hits so hard, it's that you don't see the shots coming. I can see Magomedov, really struggling in this spot and getting confused by the speed of MVP Michael Venom Page. So really, really intriguing fight. I know Shara is the favorite. I wonder if MVP can win a decision in Dubai. Like, that's tooth and nail there, because there is favoritism on the cards when we see these Middle Eastern events. You can't deny it. So I think MVP may need a finish, but like I said, if he catches Shara coming in on one of those jump-in right hands, like, I can see him clipping the jaw and hurting him. I think MVP's lead leg here is going to be very exposed for the low kicks of Shara, which he can start to build off that, open up the head and the body. So very, very intriguing fight. I think this one is going to just perfectly set the tempo for that main event. And as a fan of striking, you guys have to tune into this one. Sergey Pavlovich and Rosenstruik. Now, Pavlovich has found himself in a bit of a tough spot. Like, the guy was on top of the world when he was coming up before that Aspinall fight. One of the scariest contenders in the UFC, probably the scariest. Like, he was mowing through that division. Aspinall and Volkov have, put a stop to that hype pretty much completely, it seems. If he can rebound here in a big way, heavyweight isn't a very deep division. So I can see him reworking his way back up. And someone who punches so hard, I think he just needs to find that confidence in himself again, because Rosenstruik is there to be hit sometimes, and is happy to engage in a striking fight. So if Pavlovich can stick smarter, just be a bit more calculated than his last few fights, I think he can find the chin here. And his power, what can you say about it? It is absolutely crazy. Like, if he touches any of these heavyweights clean, you're going to go down. Nurmagomedov on the card, it would not be a Middle Eastern event without one. It seems Saeed is a very interesting fighter, and Vinicius Oliveira, a super exciting, talented, dynamic up-and-comer who cracks. So very intriguing fight in the bantamweight division there. Fares CM and Mike Davis opening up the main card. Going to be an absolute barn burner as well. Mike Davis, someone who seems to be plagued by injuries, but the guy is so skilled. If you guys haven't seen the Tiger Muay Thai tryouts on YouTube, Mike Davis was featured in a season there and won it. Like, go and watch that. That'll show you the skill level of this guy on the feet. You see the added wrestling. Like I said, if this guy fought 2-3 times a year, I think he'd be in the top 10, top 15 by now easily. He has a tough matchup against a rangy Frenchman who has a lot of momentum. But if he can compose the cardio levels, I think he's all over ZM everywhere this fight goes. Terrence McKinney back on the card as well. He's going to bring fireworks. A fighter who just is kill or be killed every time. Not necessarily going to give you the best results overall in your career, but as a fan, it is so entertaining to watch. And I'm sure you guys agree, like, T-Rex is a must-see fighter. Whenever he's on the card, you're going to be tuning in for that one, because the way he opens the fight, it's like a banshee, man. He just wants to hurt you. That Drew Dober matchup was fireworks. And Dober there in that position showed his experience and was able to, survive the storm. But most of these guys aren't. Outside of that, top 25 of the world, like, most of these guys are going to get swarmed and hurt. So, yeah, really excited to see T-Rex back on the card. A few fights have fallen off, but like I said, it is a great fight card. Very, very interested to see what happens in that co-main and main event especially. Let me know what you guys think as well. I'm sure the anticipation levels are right up there with me. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really, really appreciate that. And we will chat soon.